graded work should be in a folder up front. Alright, I want you to go ahead and do questions 1, 2, and 3. If you are calculating, I have somebody's calculator. I don't know what number it is because I keep forgetting to renumber them. So go ahead and do 1, 2, and 3.
Do you want to simplify or just distribute?
Both. Distribute and then combine like terms.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Alright, let's go ahead and look at these. Alright, so the first one I'm going to distribute. So this is going to be 3x. Bring down my plus. 3 times 4 is 12. Minus 4x plus 2. Combine my like terms, so 3x minus 4x, which is a negative x or negative 1x. And then positive 12 plus 2 is plus 14. Any questions on number 1? Awesome. All right, let's look at number 2. I'm going to bring down my 10 and my plus. Distribute my half. Half of 6 is 3, so 3y. Bring down my subtraction. Half of 8 is 4. Bring down my plus 7y. combine my like terms. I'm going to combine my variables first. It's okay if you did it the other way. So we have a positive 3, positive 7. So I have a positive 10y. I have a 10 minus 4, which is a positive 6. Any questions on number 2? All right, number 3. We have a subtraction before our parentheses. What should I think? Add a line, change sign. When I add a line, change a sign, there's not a number to do right there. So what am I going to do? What do you think is going to go right there? A 1. So it's going to become a negative 1. All right, so I'm going to distribute. I'm going to keep that negative 6 plus. Distribute. So I have a negative 1y, so negative y, plus negative 1 times 5 is negative 5. I only have one variable, so I don't have to combine it with anything. Negative 6 minus 5 is negative 11. You could have done add plus a negative 11. If that would have been fine too. Questions on that one? We know to add the 1 there because if not, it's just minus blank. And I can't have two operations next to each other. I can't have a minus and a parenthesis, which means multiplication. Yes, ma'am. That's fine. And some, because that 1's not there, they realized I'm just going to distribute that negative to both things, which is perfectly fine. But I wanted you to see where that came from. Okay? Any other questions? All right, let's look at solving and distributing. All right, so number 1, we're going to distribute 7y, like I said the other day. Some of you are forgetting to distribute to both numbers, and you're forgetting that it's multiplication. So be sure you're multiplying. 7 times 3 is 21. Draw my line. I'm going to subtract 21 from both sides. Leaves me 7y and negative 49. Get rid of that coefficient. I'm going to divide both sides by 7. Y equals negative 7. Questions on that one? All right, I want you to do number 2 by yourself. Check it with your partner when you're done. Alright, let's go ahead and look at it. So I'm going to keep my 0 on my left. I'm going to distribute. Negative 2 times 4 is negative 8x. Bring down my subtraction. Negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. Don't like a subtraction of negatives, so I'm going to add a line. Change the sign. From here, we're going to subtract 10 from both sides because it's now positive plus a positive 10. Excuse me, negative 10 on the left, negative 8x on the right. Divide both sides by negative 8. This leaves me with x on this side. It leaves me with positive 10/8 on this side, which can be simplified to 5/4. If you went ahead and put it in its decimal form, that's fine. It would have been 1.25. But improper fractions are perfectly okay in this class, so I'm going to keep it that way. Questions on number 2. Hopefully we haven't had any issues yet, because so far at least those 1 and 2 have been reviews from 8th grade. So hopefully, if you are struggling, then you need to come talk to me because we need to figure out a time for you to come get some extra help on this. Alright, so number 3 is a little different. So before we jump straight to number 3, I want to ask you, how would we have solved a problem like this? How would we have solved for x on this one? How would we have solved this?
Would you multiply?
Multiply what?
The 8. Wait, yeah, the 8 to both sides.
Thank you. We would have cross-multiplied. To solve this one, you should have cross-multiplied. 8 times 9 is 72. 5 times x is 5x. And then you would have solved for your x. So guess how we're going to solve this one? Cross multiply. So I'm going to actually write it out step by step. So I'm going to have negative 0.3, negative 0.3, I dropped my 0, times a minus 2 equal to negative 3 times 3. So all I've done is cross multiplied. So when I have two fractions that we need to solve for a variable and a part of it. Yes. No, I wrote it right. Okay, boy, don't mess with my brain this early. I was like, man. Alright, are we good? So now I'm going to distribute from here. It's just a distribute and solve problem. So negative 0.3a. Bring down my subtraction. Negative 3 times 2 is going to be a negative 0.6. Well, that's messy. Equals negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. I am going to go ahead and change that subtract a negative by add a line changing a sign, because that is messy, messy, messy. Is everybody with me still? Alright, so now I have add a positive, so I'm going to subtract 0.6 from both sides. So leaves me a negative 3/10 a. And this leaves me with negative 9.6. Divide both sides by that negative 3/10. A left on the left. Negative divided by negative is going to be a positive. 3 goes into 9 3 times. Goes into 2 times. Move the decimal over. Should have gotten 32. Or you could have done it on a calculator if you didn't feel confident. Questions on that one? Alright, let's look at number 4. Number 4 is similar to our example at the very, very top. So when I have this negative, Some people are going to automatically distribute that negative, which is fine. I like to show you where it comes from. It comes from if there's a negative 1 there. It's just an imaginary negative 1, or imaginary 1, not imaginary negative. But all you're doing is distributing a negative to everything inside. So this will just become a negative 8. This will bring down my subtraction. This will become a negative 2, which we're not going to like. So I'm going to go ahead and add a line change sign. From there, we just solve. So some of you have been struggling with this negative 8 out front, because this is a negative 8. So the opposite of a negative 8 is a positive 8. These cancel, leave me with 2n. This is 36. Divide both sides by 2. We get n equals 18. Any questions on that one? All right, let's flip to the back. All right, I want you to try number 5 on your own. If you need partner help, you can get partner help on it. There we go. I was going to say it'll take a while though. Bless you. All right, are we ready to look at number 5? All right, so I'm going to distribute 0.2 times 13, which is 0.26. Bring down my subtraction, 0.2 b, or 2/10 b, I could say it properly. And we have 18/5. Do we want fractions and decimals in the same exact problem? Yes, ma'am. Okay, you had your hand before you even heard me ask a question. Oh, it is 2.6, you're right. Because I read it as wrong. Thank you. Alright, so do we want to keep it as 18/5? No, I recommend changing them all to decimals, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Goes in 3 times 15, 18, 3.6. Alright, from here we're going to subtract 2.6 from both sides. Leave me with negative 0.2b, and that leaves me with 1. Divide both sides by negative 0.2. And b equals negative 5. Just remember, if you have fractions and decimals in the same problem, they either need to be all fractions or all decimals. We normally go to putting them all in decimals, but will it always work that way? No, if your denominator is a 3 or a 9 or an 11 or a 7, they won't work out that way. Some 6s won't, but the 3, 9, 11, 7s definitely won't. Okay, so if you want to put them in the calculator, see if they're repeating. If they're repeating, you got to keep them as a fraction. All right, let's look at number 6. I want you to try number 6 on your own. Remember, half of just means dividing it by 2. Most of you probably thought this was pretty easy. It's not too hard. Half of 4p is 2p, plus half of 12 is 6. Subtract both sides by 6. Divide both sides by 2. And we get 9. Is everybody good with 9? Alright, let's look at some word problems. The directions say to write an equation for each and solve. And I know we hate word problems, but you also know in reality word problems is what the world is, right? Word problems are how your testing is going to look like, but in real world, you're not just given a math problem and said do this. It's word problems. So let's look at it. The length of a building is 2 times the sum of its width and 4. If the building is 28 feet, find the width. If the length of the building, it'd be nice if I could read that correctly. Alright, so I like to draw pictures because I am a visual person. I do believe most students are visual also. So let's draw it. There's my building. Alright, so I have a width. And my length is 2 times, but we jump straight into the sum, so that tells me I'm going to have to do parentheses there. The sum, which is an addition word, of the width and 4. The length of the building is 2 times the sum of the width and 4. If the length of the building is 28, find the width. So we know this length is 28. So our equation is pretty simple. 2w plus 4 equals 28. All right, go ahead and see if you can solve it. So I'm going to distribute. It's going to be 2w plus 8 equals 28. Subtract 8 from both sides. Get 2w equals 20. Divide both sides by 2. My width is 10. Questions on that one? Any other questions? Alright, number 8. Why don't you go ahead and try. If you get stuck and need help from your partner, go ahead. Let's try on our own first. Alright, we ready? I'm gonna say yes, even though y'all just completely left me hanging there. Thank you. Alright, an integer is 9 times. Alright, so an integer is 9 times the difference. So I know there's going to be parentheses there because it had 2 operations back to back. 9 times the difference, so a subtraction problem. Twice a rational number, so 2r and 3. Alright, is everybody with me so far on this? Yep, we're good? Alright, but then it tells us that integer is negative 35. So to make our equation, I just plug in the negative 35 in my integer spot. There's my equation. Yes. Thank you. So let's go ahead and solve it. 9 times 2r is 18r. Minus 9 times 3 is 27. I'm going to add 27 to both sides. Oh, goodness. 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes. Yeah. Nope, negative 8. Divide both sides by 18. I get negative 8 over 18 as my rational number. Can that be simplified? Yes, we always want our fractions simplified. If you don't, you will lose at least a point or two. Always needs to be simplified. Sorry, you can't see that all the way. Questions on that one? All right. Any questions on this lesson at all? Tomorrow in class, you'll do the assignment over it.